Good morning, my dear students. So today, through this video, I am going to start a new chapter, chapter number 5, The Adventures of an Understudy. This is a very nice story, and this is taken from a novel. That name is A Prisoner of Zenda. This chapter author is Sir Anthony Hope Hawkins, who was also known as Sir Anthony, and he was very famous in English literature. He was especially writing novels, and he was also a playwright. Specifically, he was writing on adventure. He was a very known person, and also his two of the novels are very much famous. So he was better known for two books that is there, and this chapter is one of them, which is a part of The Prisoner of Zenda. That is a very nice novel, and this novel was written and indicating you about the time which was before the European World War. That era was defined through this chapter. Sir Anthony Hope was born on 9 February 1863. He was known for two books, that are The Prisoner of Zenda, and the second book is sequel, Rupert of Henzu. These two books were very famous, and this is what we are going to start this chapter, The Adventure of an Understudy. This is a part of one of the part or extract that is taken from a book, that is The Prisoner of Zenda. So let's start the explanation. So this is the chapter, The Adventures of an Understudy. I want to tell you the main characters which are there in this chapter, or I can say the character sketch of the different of them which are there in the Prisoner of Zenda novel. These are, first is the king, whose name was Rudolph V, who was going to become the king of Rotinania. Second, Michael, a duke and the younger half-brother of the king. Michael is the mastermind behind the plot to overthrow the king. Next is Antoinette de Meuban. And next is Count Rupert of Henzu. Then we have Colonel Sapt or and Prince. Next is Rudolph Residial, who was the cousin brother of King Rudolph. And then Princess Flavia, who was the fiancée of King Rudolph. The Prisoner of Zenda is an 1894 adventure novel by Anthony Hope, in which the king of Rotinania is drugged on the evening of his coronation and thus is unable to attend the ceremony. Political forces within the realm are such that in order for the king to retain the crown, his coronation must proceed. An English gentleman on holiday in Ruritania, who resembles the monarch, is persuaded to act as his political decoy in an effort to save the unstable political situation of the intriginum. There's a handsome young man about town in London, whose unusual good looks hint about a scandalous ancestry. On a visit to a tiny East European principality, he decides to take a walk through a dense forest. He falls asleep under a tree and is discovered by the king and his entourage who are out hunting. Both are stunned by their startling resemblance to each other. The king, who is days away from his grand coronation, invites the Englishman back to his castle, and here the visitor becomes embroiled in a sinister plot to overthrow the monarch and usurp the throne. The Prisoner of Zenda, being the history of 3 months in the life of an English gentleman by Anthony Hope, is probably one of the best known and most filmed adventure classic of all time. It has been adapted for stage, set to music, transformed into an opera, and performed on radio and television. Written at a time when innumerable little kingdoms dotted the map of pre-World War Europe, the novel wonderfully captures the romance, intricacies, and excitement that such remote places symbolized in the popular imagination, as a story that combines mystery and adventure. The Prisoner of Zenda is unmatched. It gave rise to a new genre of literature known as Rotinanian Romance, the mythical country of Rotania portrayed in The Prisoner of Zenda. The text is called The Adventures of an Understudy because it brings out the story of Resident, a simple man who, just like an understudy, played the part of a real king in the latter's absence. So, these were the adventures of an understudy. The game refers to the elaborate ruse that Resendel was going to execute with the help of Colonel Sepp and friends, in which he would take the place of King Rudolph and participate in the latter's coronation ceremony. It was essential that the king showed up for this politically significant event, failing which the king's half-brother, Black Michael, would take over the throne. But the king had been found unconscious and in no state to attend the ceremony, which led to his look-alike Resendale playing the king's part for a day. If they won the game, all would be well and the king himself could rule over Ruritania, but if their plow was discovered, Black Michael, King Rudolph's half-brother, would seize the throne of Rutinania. Resendel prepared for the role by taking instructions from Colonel Sepp. He told Resendel about King Rudolph's personal history, his family tastes, pursuits, weaknesses, friends, companions, and servants. This was to make Resendel prepared to pose as King Rudolph at the coronation. He was also trained in the etiquette of Rotinanian court. Outwardly, he was dressed in royal clothes with a sword in its scabbard, a revolver, and a helmet to look the part he was supposed to play. As the meaning of understudy is a person who learns another's role in order to be able to act at short notice in their absence. So understudies here really do incredible work and you learn so much because you have so much to do. So according to this, Resendil was gone through understudy. In the last, the excitement heats up as Black Michael kidnaps the real king and Resendil is forced to keep up the pretense for longer than he expected to. The story of how he rescues Rudolph and saves the throne of Rutinania from Michael forms the story of the Prisoner of Zenda. I hope that you all have understood well the story. Thank you.